Hey, God bless you, everybody. I'm not going to be before you long. Um, Everyone knows right now we're dealing in the Northeast with this smoke and haze coming from the Canadian fires. The weird thing about it is that I was speaking to my daughter a couple days ago, and she says to me, "Well, Mom, isn't this the same thing as the dream that you had?" And this was like maybe a month ago. I had this dream, and I just didn't understand what the dream meant. But now it all comes, now it all makes sense. And so I'm kicking myself in the butt because I'm like, darn it, I should have, released this so that, we could have been prepared. But the issue was I just didn't understand the dream at the time. So the dream was like this. I was somewhere with my daughter. We were outside with one of my daughters. We were outside. And there was all this smoke or haze or fog. I didn't know what it was in the dream. But it was all this. Now I know it was smoke. And I remember saying or thinking in the dream, or it was just given to me, that it was coming from Canada. And I remember telling my daughter, I said, look up in the sky. And, we saw the sun and how funny it looked. And then that was the end of the dream. And so, I told you my daughter, she reminded me like, Mom, this is the dream you had. But at the time when I had the dream, I just couldn't understand like what God was showing me. A lot of times he'll give me dreams about different countries and things like that. And I'll know, this is like something literal, but for whatever reason, I didn't put two and two together. But anyway, I was like, okay, well, God, now that I know that the dream that you gave me was literal, what do I do with it now? Like, I can't prepare anyone for this because it's already happened. And so, I was in prayer this morning about it. And what came in my spirit was there's a remedy that you can do for cleaning your air. Because, what I said in my prayer time was this. Your people, God, just like if we think about Egypt and how the people of Egypt were the people of Egypt, and then you had the Israelites, right? So they were separate. Even though the plagues were going on, the Israelites were in Goshen. Even though they had, darkness in Egypt, in Goshen, there was light, even though the Egyptians were dealing with, the spirit of death, and their firstborns were dying. The people, the Israelites weren't dealing with that. And so I'm like, God, now y'all can take this however you want to take it. Because what I thought, I'm not saying God said this, but what I thought was, like, is this some sort of judgment? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. I'm not saying that's what God said, but I was thinking, like, is this some sort of judgment? But I'm like, but we're your people, God, and we're still sitting here feeling the effects of this. A couple nights ago, I went outside. I was just outside on the deck talking on the phone, thinking like, oh, what's the big deal? And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, my throat's feeling like itchy. Like, what's this? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, God, I'm one of your people. Like, how is you going to let this, this stuff affect me? And, we might be all like fight the power and all like that. But, there's some things that we can do to help mitigate these, the toxic effect of this smoke inhalation, because that's literally what it is. It's like you might as well go buy a pack of cigarettes and start smoking them if you don't smoke, because that's what you're getting. And some people might have money and have great air filtration systems in their house, like state of the art or whatever like that. But then you have other people that don't have that sort of that don't have that remedy. Or you might have people who work outside. I don't have a remedy for that, but I know what God told me in reference to the air quality inside of your house. I can imagine that the air purification systems or machines have probably went up in price. So had I given this dream out earlier to prepare, I could have said, you guys go out and buy an air filtration system or whatever. But maybe it might be still cheap. I don't know. But let me just tell you the remedy that God put in my spirit this morning when I was praying about this. So one of the things I have in my house is a essential oil diffuser, the one with water. Okay. And you can even, I'm assuming you can do this with a humidifier. Now I'm going to tell you this. You do this at your own risk. You do whatever I'm saying right now, you're going to do at your own risk. I'm not a doctor, so don't come at me if, I don't know, something goes horrible with this. But, so I have a essential oil diffuser, the one with the water, and I'm thinking I'm going to try this also with my humidifier. So what God put in my spirit was hydrogen peroxide inside of that essential oil diffuser and or humidifier. So there's a way that you should do it. I'll put a link to this other lady's video because this woman says you shouldn't just go out and get, regular hydrogen peroxide and just put it in there because for one thing, the hydrogen peroxide that you get from the store is just meant mostly topical, and it has fillers and stabilizers in it that you don't really want to breathe in. So she said get food grade hydrogen peroxide to clean your air, but then also to make sure you dilute. So she has a whole recipe for that, and I'll put the link down at the bottom. But the secret is, for those of you that listen on here, because or might be thinking like, God, I serve you, and I'm suffering these plagues of Egypt. I'm suffering it too along with them, So God, just listen to what God is telling you to do. Everybody's situation is different. So like I said, some of y'all might be outside working. So how do you remedy that? I'm sure God has a remedy for that. So if you just seek him, he'll give you the answer. Now, I know they're talking about masks and stuff like that, which is fine. I wore a cloth mask outside the other day, and it helped. I know they're saying it has to be an N95, but it helped get some of that, stop some of that from coming in. So yeah, like, I'll put the link in there and you guys can look at it, check it out. If you're really serious about trying to purify the air in your home. And this is something that can be done for regardless whether whether we're having this situation or not. So like I said, I already had an essential oil diffuser, and that cleaned the air anyway, because if you think about, like, when it rains, if you have a humidifier or something that's, pouring out vaporized water in the air, it's going to pull down particles, pull them down to the floor. So the hydrogen peroxide is just going to step it up a notch. It's going to oxygenate your air. Listen, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but whatever. Y'all get the drift. I'll put the ladies' link in the description or the comment section, one or the other. And you guys can, give the Lord yourself and figure out what you want to do. But I'm just telling you how to purify your air if you don't have, like, a filtration system, okay? Like a big central air filtration system or whatever. Because that was the other thing. I'm like, well, God, I don't have central air. What am I going to do? Like, okay, close my windows and stuff, but then the stuff is already in there. It's the whatever contaminants is already in the house. And so I believe that this is one of the remedies that he gave me for cleaning your air. I have all the other knickknacks and things that have come out through the years, the Himalayan pink salt lamp or whatever. Who knows if that's really doing anything? I still have those lamps, the Himalayan pink salt lamps, and there's no way to really tell if they're real or not unless I guess it gets hot in the house and you see it starts to melt. And I finally did last summer. I've had that Himalayan pink salt for about 3 years now. 3 or 4 years, I don't know. It's been a while. But this is the first summer that I've seen it actually start to kind of melt down. But my sister laughs at this when I say this. But when I first got the lamp, I licked it just to, just to make sure it was real salt. And it was salty, so it was the real kind. But there's a lot of fakes out there. But anyway, that's off on a tangent. So, all right, guys. So that's that. I'm hoping now that I have some things that are off my back now in terms of responsibilities. That I'll have more time. Like if I have a dream like this, that I have more time to like pray into it, so God could really open it up to me, and then I can understand and then give you guys the information before the event actually happens. All right, guys, I love you, and until we meet again.